Hello viewers, I'm Simon Preston and this is Reggae Boys Commentary, and welcome to Tid Bits Friday here on May 13th. And as you know, as I provide more content about the Reggae Boys, a bit of a historical background so you're aware about them more, and this is the show as well where I give some insightful statistics and tidbits on the team in Tid Bits Friday. So here we go. In this week I'm going to discuss Jamaica's history in the Caribbean Cup. Now, as you know, we're in the second round action so far in the 2016-2017 edition of the Caribbean Cup. So in this edition of Tid Bits Friday, what I'm going to do is give Jamaica's history in the tournament as well as the results that have happened. So the first edition of the Caribbean Cups started in 1989. Jamaica did not play in the final round of this tournament. We were eliminated quite early, and the winners of this tournament was Trinidad and Tobago. Now, they beat Grenada 2-1 in the final of this tournament. Stern John and Dwight York making a massive impact during this tournament. There was no tournaments during the 1990 edition, as you know, there was a hurricane season during that period of time and it had to be postponed, and it wasn't played, it was cancelled. So 1991 was when the Caribbean Cup started back again, and when they called it at the time, it wasn't called the Caribbean Cup, it was a Shell Cup, but it was obvious that it was a tournament for teams strictly in the Caribbean. In 1991, Jamaica won their first ever Caribbean Cup title, where they beat Trinidad and Tobago 2-0 in the final, and St. Lucia came third in this tournament, beating Guyana 4-1 in the final. In 1992, Trinidad and Tobago got back their Caribbean Cup title, beating Jamaica 3-1 in that final, and we know that Martinique went on to finish third in that tournament, beating Cuba 5-3 on penalty kicks. In 1993, where the tournament was hosted in Jamaica, it was the first time that a team other than Jamaica or Trinidad won the Caribbean Cup, and we saw it evident where Martinique beat Jamaica in the final 6-5 on penalties after the match ended 0-0 after the full 90 minutes. This was seen as the biggest shock in the Caribbean Cup, where there was an occasion where the entire Caribbean, and especially in the European, there was headlines as well. Shock in Caribbean Cup was the headlines during this period. Even the French newspaper had such headlines as, you know, Martinique is a department of France. So this was seen as massive news, as a francophone, a French-speaking nation, impressing on this international stage and really making a mark in this tournament. So this is what Martinique did, and they went on to win the first Caribbean Cup title, and they, alongside Jamaica, went to the 1993 edition of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Well, it was baptism of fire, you could say, for them, because they were in a group with Mexico and they suffered 9-0 defeat. But you could say it was a learning experience for them, and they have grown from strength to strength 2 decades later on, and they are still a force to be reckoned with in the Caribbean, despite not being able to play in World Cup qualifiers. Now, Jamaica had a very barren spell between 1994 and 1996 of the Caribbean Cup, where we did not even finish in the top 4. There were occasions where we had defeats to the likes of Cayman Islands, we suffered defeats to Suriname and other Caribbean teams, and it was a very barren spell. You know, it was a period of time where René Simoes took over, and it was quite a rebuilding phase. So in 1994, Trinidad won it. 95, Trinidad won it. 96, Trinidad won it. And 97, Trinidad won it. So Trinidad is the only team to win the Caribbean Cup 4 years on the trot. You could say back-to-back 4 years. Jamaica has never done that. However, Jamaica has won it back-to-back, which means twice in a row. Let's see if we can try that for 2017, 2020, and the next one after that. Let's see if we'll be able to do that. So, interesting times ahead, you can say, where that is concerned. 1998, after the FIFA World Cup in France, we went and we won the Caribbean Cup for the second time in our history, beating Trinidad and Tobago 2-1 in the final in Port of Spain. Haiti beat Antigua and Barbuda 3-2 in the final to cement that third place spot. 1999, we saw Trinidad and Tobago getting back their title, beating Cuba 2-1 in the final, where Jamaica and Haiti tied third place in that tournament. 2001, well, this is the last time that Trinidad has ever won the Caribbean Cup, so it's been a very dry spell. 15 years was the last time Trinidad won the Caribbean Cup. That was in the 2001 edition of the tournament. Can you imagine? It's almost the length of time that Liverpool has been out of a league title. 1990 was their last league title in England, and now it's going 26 years. Long time, you could say, indeed. Yeah, Jamaica were in the final round for this tournament, but we did not advance to the semi-finals because of our goal difference. We beat Martinique, we beat Barbados, and we lost to Trinidad, but our goal difference did not help us in advancing, as it was Martinique had a better goal difference, and they advanced to the semi-finals, and they went on to beat Cuba 3-1-0 in the third place playoff, and Trinidad beat Haiti in the final 3-0. Jamaica won the Caribbean Cup again in 2005. Luton Shelton. This was the breakthrough tournament for him, scoring against the likes of St. Martin, US Virgin Islands, Haiti, French Guiana, St. Lucia, Cuba, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, helping us win the Caribbean Cup for the third time in our history. Fantastic scenes, helping us to get to that 2005 Gold Cup. We had such a good spell under head coach Wendell Downswood at the time, 22 matches unbeaten. It was simply sublime when he took over on November 24th, 2004. 2007 edition of the Caribbean Cup was quite embarrassing for Jamaica. We lost 2-1 to St. Vincent of the Grenadines at home, and as a result of that we had to beat Haiti by a 3-goal margin, but we only ended up beating them 2-0, and we were eliminated from the group stages of the tournament. It was quite bizarre, that tournament, you know, and I'm still very frustrated about that, because the defending champion always goes to the final round, and I'm very unsure about why in this edition we had to be placed in the preliminary rounds. But you know, life goes on. And in 2008, under head coach John Barnes, we won back our rightful title as Caribbean Cup Tats for the 4th time in our history. The tournament was hosted in Jamaica. We beat Barbados 2-1. We went and beat Grenada 4-0. We went and we drew 1-1 against Trinidad and Tobago. In the semi-finals we beat Guadeloupe 2-0, and in the final we beat Grenada 2-0. 2 penalty kicks from Luton Shelton, and we got back our Caribbean Cup title. I remember going to that match that day. It was the first time I've ever seen Jamaica lift the Caribbean Cup title live and not on television. Fantastic scenes, and I remember after the game John Barnes was speaking about how Rudolph Austin and Jason Morrison were the engine of that team, and quite remarkable. And still to date, John Barnes is the only head coach for the Jamaica national team and has never lost a match. Granted, he didn't play many matches, and the majority came against CONCACAF and CFU teams, but it's a record. He's never lost while being head coach of Jamaica. And then he left and took up a job with Tranmere Rovers in England, in the Merseyside, and he didn't last long. The rest is history, you could say. In 2010, we got back our Caribbean Cup title again, back-to-back winners. Theodore Whitmore was the head coach at the time, and after winning this tournament, beating Guadeloupe 5-4 in penalties in the final, it's the first time that Theodore Whitmore and any player that has played in the Caribbean Cup has won it both as a player and as a head coach. That was also a special tournament as well, the breakthrough of Dane Richards, Marvin Morgan as well. So there were some good players that came through that tournament. Sean Francis as well. Ryan Johnson didn't play badly either. We had to grind out some results throughout the tournament, and we really showed that we were a cut above the rest in the Caribbean. 2012 Caribbean Cup was disappointing, you know. After the momentum of advancing to the final round of the 2014 CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, nobody knows what happened. We went to the Caribbean Cup and there were issues in the camp, you know. We had a lot of transits and flights on our way to Antigua, and there were occasions where the players hadn't eaten for a number of hours and food wasn't provided for a period of time, and there was even an incident where one member of the delegation had to swipe his credit card to buy 2 pizzas for the team because the players hadn't eaten in some time and they were travelling all day. There was quite a bit of fuss and mix-up. It wasn't the Jamaica team that we know. And they only scored 1 goal in that tournament, came in through Jermaine Stewart. We lost 2-1 to French Guyana, we drew 0-0 with Martinique, and we lost 1-0 to Cuba. Some positives from that tournament. Alvas Paul made his debut in that 0-0 draw against Martinique. Yeah, that's about it. And in the 2014 Caribbean Cup, which was hosted in Jamaica, we claimed our 6th title, and that helped us to qualify for this tournament that we're preparing for, the Copa Centenario. What a summer it's going to be. So when you compile all these results and you cumulatively have it, Trinidad and Tobago has the most titles in the Caribbean with 8, Jamaica right behind them with 6. We hope to overpass them very, very soon. We hope to overtake them very, very soon. You have Cuba behind them, 1 title, they won it in 2012. Haiti, 2007. Martinique, they won it in 1993. Grenada, they never won the Caribbean Cup, however, they came second in 2008 and 1989. Guadeloupe, they came second in 2010. St. Kitts, they came second in 1997. St. Vincent, they came second in 1995. So these were some of the teams that have done well in the Caribbean Cup. Rudolph Austin is also the second player in Caribbean Cup history to be named the MVP of the tournament. The first was a Trinidad and Tobago player by the name of David Nakid. He was the first player. The first player to be MVP ever in the Caribbean Cup history was Steve Mark of Grenada in 1989. Well, that's Tidbits for today on Friday, May the 13th. I hope you all enjoyed this video on Caribbean Cup action and Jamaica's history on it. We do hope in this edition, the 2016-2017 edition of the Caribbean Cup, that Jamaica can get their 7th hold of the title. We bow into action in October, so we will know our opponents after the Caribbean Cup. We will, not the Caribbean Cup, after the Copa America Centenario, we'll know our opposition and who we'll face. I'm looking forward to it, and I really do hope to see the Reggae Boys break through on this occasion. I'm Simon Preston. Stay tuned for more content. Enjoy your weekend, and don't forget to subscribe.